So Simeon, a great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. So the key to this section is sign. Right? So here in chapter 12, we see two signs. The woman and the dragon. The woman and the dragon. So I'll skip forward to chapter 15. So in chapter 15 verse 1, remember it is in chapter 15 verse 5 that they continue, that the vision continues with the open temple. So after the open temple, God shows John chapter 12 to chapter 15. Okay, up to verse 5 or verse 4. From verse 5, he continues, he reconnects with the open temple. Okay, so in chapter 15 verse 1 says, I saw in heaven another great and marvelous sign. So we have three signs now. The woman, the dragon, and the seven angels with seven last plagues. Last, because with them God's wrath is completed. And I saw what looked like a sea of glass mixed with fire, and standing beside the sea those who had been victorious over the beast and his image and over the number of his name. They held harps given them by God and sang the song of Moses the servant of God and the song of the Lamb. Great and marvelous are your deeds, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are your ways, King of the ages, or King of saints, King of nations, ESV, King of ages, NIV, King of saints, KJV. Who will not fear you, verse 4, O Lord, and bring glory to your name, for you alone are holy. All nations will come and worship before you, for your righteous acts have been revealed. For your righteous acts have been revealed. Then in verse 5, he said, after this I looked, and in heaven the temple, that is the tabernacle of the testimony, was opened. Out of the temple came the seven angels with seven plagues. They were dressed in clean, shining linen and wore golden sashes around their chests. So, back to chapter 12. So, a great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. So, excuse me. So she was pregnant. Sorry, please. Let me just... All right. So she was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. So this great and wondrous sign appeared in heaven. A woman, she was clothed with the sun. She was clothed with the sun. She was clothed with the sun. What's going on? Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm in the church here. So, in chapter 10, remember we had an angel, and I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven. He was robed in a cloud with a rainbow over his head. His face was like the sun, and his legs were like pillars of fire. And here we have a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain as she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. So the dragon had 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. The dragon had 7 heads. Each head had a crown, but he had 10 horns. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that he might devour her child the moment it was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the desert to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Remember the 2 witnesses who were to prophesy for the same period. In Revelation 11:3, I'll give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. All right. Okay, so verse 7, and there was war in heaven. So the woman appeared, the dragon appeared, and one was waiting for the woman to give birth to a child, so as to kill the child, eat the child. But the child was snatched up to God and to his throne. To God and to his throne. The woman fled into the desert to a place prepared for her by God. So her child went up, the woman went into the desert. She fled into the desert where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. He was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, "Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They overcame